Lately I've been thinking about this life and how it brought me here. Staring at this man in the mirror, I see him often. He'll wipe my tears. Only if you knew what I was going through. Only if you walked it in my shoes. Certain things don't like to talk about, but I'll always remember. The chaos in my mind turned my heart out in November. I'm surrounded by too many doors, not sure which way I...
Welcome to the Message is Hope podcast, where the hope stands for hearing other people's experience. My name is Adam.
I'm Mike, and today we have Juan in the studio. How you doing today, Juan?
I'm good, brothers. Thank you guys for letting me be here today.
Yeah.
You know, I'm honored. You know, and I'm ready to share my experience with you guys, man.
Love it, bro. So what was it like growing up for you?
Growing up, man.
All the way back.
All the way back.
At the beginning.
Yeah, this is what I came for, man. When I heard about you guys' podcast, man, that's why I really wanted to come here, man, to get deep with where everything started, you know. So the roots for me, man, I'm not from here, you know. I was born in Mexico. I'm from Nayarit, Mexico, man, and I was over there for about 6 years until I came over here. Being born over there was, you know, ranch. You know, the streets were dirt. You know, cars were not there. It's mostly horses. You know, I grew up with my grandpa riding us in the horse to the fields, to the stores. You know, it was not like... when I came here, everything was new for me. I don't know about no McDonald's, no hamburgers, you know, like everything was new, right? So over there was feeding cows, feeding the chickens, you know what I'm saying? I used to ride the pigs, you know, that was my playground, you know,
Yeah.
The farm, you know, I grew up real farming, you know. But yeah, man, that's what it was for me growing up. If I want to go after that, man, you know, born in Mexico, man, my dad got over here when my mom was about 5 months pregnant. She was about 5 months pregnant. My dad came over here as a visa for working. His visa expired. He actually just stayed. He never went back. So I didn't get to meet my dad till I was like 6 years old, man. Okay. You know, my first 6 years was no father.
You remember coming over?
Of course. I had to do homework.
What was that like?
So this is a good experience, man. My dad got here with a visa. I got here with my cousin's identity, you know. So my mom made me do homework at 6 years old. Like, you're Christopher Medina, whoop whoop, you know, like the whole identity of my cousin. Like, this is where you live, this is where you come from, this is your mom, you know.
Yeah.
I had at 6 years old, man. You know, it was crazy for me. But you know, as a mom was bored, I'm gonna listen to what my mama says. You know, I didn't see nothing wrong with that at 6 years old, you know. But now I know that's some illegal stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, for me, that's the way I got here, man. You know, sadly to say, my mom actually did the whole river cross. It took about 3-4 months to get here. You know, she actually, from a beautiful young, you know, well, chubby lady to maybe 110 pounds when she got here, you know. But yeah, man, that's another story, man. That's my mom's story, man. But yeah, it was a hard thing to swallow, man. Coming here at 6 years old, man, and not knowing my dad, you know, I pulled up to the Greyhound. My dad was there. He had gold teeth, you know, fearman guy, you know what I'm saying? I don't know who he was. He's smiling at me. I'm holding my aunt's hand, my mom, right, my aunt's hand, and he's like, "Go, that's your dad." I didn't know what to do, man. To run to him, I missed him. I didn't know him. I didn't even know how he looked. All I knew, I seen this tall, dark dude smiling with some gold teeth and just looking at me, right? He's like, "That's your dad." So I hide behind my aunt, and he's like, "Go." And it all started to hopefully there's a connection there. And to tell you the truth, that didn't happen like that, man. You know.
Did you speak English when you got here, or was it all Spanish?
All Spanish, man.
All Spanish.
It took me about a year. It took me about a year to learn English, you know. And I think faster than most. A lot of people take, you know, my parents to this day don't speak English, you know. So I really got into it, man. I did kindergarten over there in Mexico, but when I got here, that didn't matter. So when I got here at 6 years old, I did kindergarten again. So instead of doing first grade at 6 years old, I did it all over again from doing kindergarten. And that was good because I didn't know no English. So kindergarten made me the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, and you know, so it helped me out, man. By the time I got to first grade, I was not fluent English, but I was talking pretty well for it. You know what I'm saying? And but yeah, man, that's me growing up. Like I said, when I got here at 6, man, I know my dad, and you know, I thought he was gonna have that connection. I haven't seen my son. You know, I don't even know him. Let me look out for him. He was already. Well, the way I see it now, man, looking back, man, he already had another life here. You know what I'm saying? 6 years. You know, my mom's in Mexico. I'm in Mexico. You know, he's over here. Like, he had another life without nobody else knowing, you know? And so I got here, and yeah, he bought me the shoes. He bought me the bikes. He bought me the scooters. You know, he bought me Burger King every time I got a good little slip from school talking about he did a good job for the week. He bought me my Burger King or McDonald's, my Happy Meals, you know, and that wasn't enough for me, man. Like, I wanted him to get connected, right? And I never had that till I was 26 years old, man. So that's what I'm saying. We'll get to that too. But like, you know, like me and my dad didn't have a connection until I got clean this time around. You know, at 26 years old, man, like me and my dad really started having that connection of a father and son, having a conversation, having communication, like. So it was hectic growing up, dog. My dad's an addict. You know, gratefully he's been clean for 11 years. You know, and my mom is a traditional, you know, housewife. You know what I'm saying? The house is clean, dishes are done. You know what I'm saying? Water the plants, 5:30 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? My dad comes from work. Food is done on the table. Like, I grew up like that, you know.
I was hoping you were gonna say that because your mom cooks.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, it's like, you know, like, and instead of having a father figure and see what manly things, like what a man should be doing, like I was doing like what my mom been doing, you know, like, and that's why I treated my relationship like I've been a sucker, you know. Yeah. Like, I do whatever, you know, like I'm here, like I never learned how to be a man till I got, you know, until 3 years ago, man. Like.
So did you grow up? Was he in the home growing up?
In a home?
In your home. Was your dad living there?
So like it was funny. Like, I always used to make fun of this, man. Like, people used to be like, "Oh, my dad's never around. Like, he left my mom." Like, you know, I was like, bro, like, my dad left me too, but he still lives with us. You know, like he comes. My dad was one of those. I'll pay you. I come here. I come once a month. I pay rent, pay the bills. Here's some money for the kids, whatever you guys need and I'm gone. And my mom was cool with that for a long time, man. And I grew up with it, you know. So for me, I got into sports real young. At 8 years old, man, I started, you know, I got here at 6. I started getting into soccer because all my cousins played. You know, it was not my sport, but from 6 to 8, I played soccer. I didn't like it. I didn't feel right. At 8 years old, I found baseball, man, and I fell in love with baseball. That was my getaway for a long time. You know, there was practice, I'll be there. When there was games, I'll be there. Like, even when there was no practice or games, like I'll be at a baseball field practicing on my own, dog, because I didn't want to be at home. You know, I couldn't live the way it was. Like, I knew my mom wasn't happy. You know, I was at a young age. I knew she wasn't happy, but man, like, what could I do?
Right.
You know, so it was real hard, man, to accept my dad's addiction and the way he treated us, and you know, and I didn't get to accept that till now. You know, it took me a while, man. Like, it took me a while to accept how I grew up, man. I was real petty, you know. Like, I used to resentful, petty, man. Like, talk down to my mom, you know, angry with my dad. It was like, you know, like, it was one of those, like, my mom always told me, no, be a good kid, go to school. My dad was like, I don't care what you do. So, like, when I wanted to do bad stuff and go with my friends to the club or anywhere like that, man, hey, dad, you know? But when, you know, like, I knew it wasn't right, you know? But that's the only time I went for him, when I knew I could get a yes from him. Right. You know? And then when my mom wanted to argue, like, who's going to argue with my dad? So I used the advantage of what I grew up with. You know, I see how they react on certain things, and I used to, like, take that to advantage, man. Like,
it's funny because when you able to kind of look at that, you could see manipulation at a very young age. It already started way before we even knew what the word manipulation meant.
Mm-hmm. You know? We learn it as babies.
Yeah, that's true.
We learn manipulation as infants.
Yeah.
And as addicts, we're very good at it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Like, when you guys talk about, like, earlier, like, I didn't know nothing about this. Resentful, being petty, being selfish. You know, like, as a kid, I don't know none of those things. Right. You know, I'm just living the way I've been taught. You know, whatever my parents could do, the best they could do. That's, you know, I'm living as my mom being a traditional housewife, and I'm living and I'm learning addict behavior from my dad. Right. You know, my dad's been in his addiction since I was 18. He got clean at 18 years old. You know, so the whole time is like, when I got married, you know, I've been married, man. I've been divorced, man, and like. I was resentful and petty against my ex-wife because I was expecting her to be like my mom. Like, don't you know that my mom took 30-something years with my dad's addiction, like you can't even take 3, you know. And that's the messed up mind of like how I wanted to look at things, man. But like, you know, there's a pro and cons on how my mom is and how my you know, my ex-wife is, man. Like, you know, there's one thing that I don't like. They're both strong women. It don't matter if my mom did that and then how she did that. Like, they're both strong women. You know, my mom kept the family together by taking the pain and not letting us, you know, worry about it. And baby mama kept it together by not being in the pain and left, you know. So it's a win both situation. Is the way you want to take it. And I took it like, oh, but she don't love me, you know. I thought she didn't love me.
So
you know?
when did the drinking and drugs come into the picture for you?
So let me tell you a funny story, man. Like literally, the drink. There was no drinking or drugs yet, but before I came from Mexico, man, my grandpa used to smoke about 3-4 packs a day, you know, Marlboros, you know, and my curiosity was that last year before I ended up coming over here, man, like I used to pick up his little butts, cigarettes, because I was curious. Like he smoked so, like every time I saw my grandpa, he had one in, like right here hanging. Not even smoking it sometimes, just hanging. It's like, what's so, you know? I always been, and then I always talk about like, I think my curiosity took me to extended places, you know? And so I'm like, and let me tell you, me knowing the day I thought about like, man, this is not right, you know? I'm not supposed to, I'm too little, right? I'm little kid. I burned myself, man. I had a big old blister, and what was gonna tell him? I got burned. So I ended up getting caught talking about I was touching the cigarette butts from my grandpa that was living there right there, man. But at 6 years old, I was already trying cigarettes, man. Like, you know, like not knowing what it would do to me, not knowing what it was. I think I remember I hit it and I started choking and my throat started burning because I think I swallowed some tobacco. Like, you know, it was, but like the drinking started before my using as like heavy drugs. Was always been drinking because it's for you know, us family, you know, it's normal, man. Like I drink with my uncles, I drink with my cousins, you know, I drink with my dad, you know.
What do you say was like your early age, like your earliest age of drinking, like acceptable with your family?
Acceptable with my family was at 16.
Okay.
At 16 years old, I could, you know, like my uncle's already giving me a beer that you're a grown man.
Yeah.
You know, like in Mexico, like as soon as you turn 15, you were grown. You know, so I have some of my cousins that are still out there, man. Like at 9 years old, they don't even finish school. They're at 9 years old, they're already working in the fields, tobacco fields, bean fields, whatever fields that my families are owning or harvesting. At 9 years old, my cousins are out there, man. Like some of them, they didn't even finish 3rd grade, 4th grade. You know, so that's one reason why my mom tells me all these stories about like this reason why we came over here. I didn't want you to have that life. You know, I wanted you to have education. You know, and so they say like that. My mom's one of them, man. My mom at 9 years old, to help my grandparents to keep a house going, like she quit at 3rd grade. Like she dropped out of school in 3rd grade. It's sad to say, man. Like when I got to middle school and you know, and I needed some, you know, some help. Like
nobody can help you.
You know, my dad was in his addiction. My dad did college in Mexico. He actually went all the way. You know, that's when he got the visa. He went to college. He finished college and he got the visa for, you know, finishing everything over there. And he got like, you get a job over here. My mom didn't. So when like, who was there to help me? You know, my dad's the one that has the college degree, but it knows his math and knows his little, you know, his history. Can't help me in my homework, so I go to my mom, and my mom like starts crying. You know, like I see my mom at 12 years old, me asking her for some homework, and she cries not because she's sad because of what's going on in life, it's because she didn't know what was going on with the homework, man. And like, you know, like, what can I say, man? Like I said, I was petty. I was like my mom don't know this, like, you know. I was real petty, man. Like I it sucks to say it, but like. I have no heart, dog, before it. I know I was like, me being, not feeling comfortable in my own skin growing up like that, man, with my dad being an addict and my mom taking all that stuff from him, man, like when it came down to, like, crying or my mom's telling me, like, how she's feeling, like, I didn't really care.
I think if, instead of saying you have no heart, you just didn't know how to love. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that, man. Yeah.
You were never taught.
Never, no. You know, and that's the reason why I probably have these relationship problems. You know, I never lose. And it's a process because, you know, thanks today, man, that I found recovery. You know what I'm saying? Like recovery shows me how to love myself. You know, and thankfully, like I still have those ups and downs with this relationship things, but like I could sit down with my mom and care about her feelings today. Like my dad and me, like for all those years that we didn't talk, like me and him could have a father and son conversation today without, I could have never done that, man. But I found the way to love myself and accept the life that I lived and how it went, like enough to do this today, man. And that's all because of recovery. Right. My own way would have had me still locked up right now. I guess it's a beautiful thing how life is today, man. And I want to always like I have passion, and I always like to talk about it because I have passion for this, man. Like this recovery thing, this 12-step program, man. Like saved my life. Right. It's simple as that, man. Like everybody thinks it's more to it, but it's just simple as that, man. Like I did what was suggested, and I found the people that love me. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's a good thing you said. It's like, man, and I have no heart. Like, and we talk about this sometimes, man. We talk about like, if I would have come into the rooms, and somebody would have like talked the way that my parents talked to me. Right. I wouldn't been right here right now, though. I needed somebody to be like, hey, we understand, we love. I always in my whole life was like, I want somebody to understand me and love me. And I found that in recovery, man. And that's the reason why I stick around, because people do understand me. Yeah. And when they love me, it could be loving and it could be unconditional love. I take it both ways because that's what I've been looking for my whole life, man. Yeah.
And I think for me, bro, like I felt like that like my whole life. Ever since I was like a kid, before I even picked up and got loaded, I always felt like nobody understands me. Nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody knows what it's like to like be in my own skin, right? Mm-hmm. And then you like get clean, right? And you end up in recovery with a bunch of people who know exactly who you are, what you've been through, how you feel. And that's one of the most beautiful things, bro, right? I went from feeling super lonely all the time, right? And I'm not saying that loneliness doesn't like creep in and get me sometimes, right? But for the most part, man, I know that I have a bunch of people that understand me, bro. And I think that's like the biggest thing we do for ourselves is to be around people that understand. Like people don't realize how crazy we are up here, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're insane, right? And to have a group of men and women who understand how crazy we are and kind of help us maneuver through that thought process, right? And even if it's as simple as like, oh, I felt this way before, right? And it gets better. Yeah. Even something as simple as that, bro. And you know where they come from, you know what they did, right? And that is enough to put me at peace and be like, all right, I'm gonna be okay, right? Because so-and-so already been through this. He got through this, right? He has X amount of time. He does this in his recovery. He has this going on, right? He got a wife, kids, a truck, like everything that I want, right? And so if he could get through it, why can't I, right? So when did drugs and alcohol, or when did drugs become a problem? When did any of this stuff become a problem for you?
Well, to get it started, like before the problem, like so drinking heavily and experiencing with like ecstasy at the time was at 13 years old. Okay.
Ecstasy at 13?
Yeah. Yes.
We got the Transformers, the UFCs at there.
And the thing is that like it goes, the story ends like, I always felt not a part of, I always been a chameleon, so like when I got here, man, I let me tell you this. So for the drugs, I started hanging out with a group of people, right? Yeah. So from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade, going to middle school, like I was boots, always with my Levi's, buckle belt. I wear my little sombrero. Didn't care what anybody had to say, man. But after fifth grade, people started bullying people, man. And I'm one of those guys that been bullied. I was short and chubby, like a little fat meatball, I didn't get my growth spurt until I was like 13 years old when I started actually like getting into baseball and exercising and knowing what exercising means, and I got my little 5'10", but for a long time I was about in the 4 feet. My mom is short. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be like my mom. But I'm grateful that I'm between both of them. My dad's 6 feet. My mom was like 4'11", 5 feet. So I'm between both of them, But before I got my growth spurt, man, like I was bullied. But so 13, I experienced my drinking and ecstasy, man, because like I said, I changed my whole life. At sixth grade, I hanged out with the people that wear the Dickies, Van Davis, Chucks, Cortezes, Flannels, You know, I've been playing pro club since I was sixth grade. I haven't changed my style probably since then. You know, and I had 2 cousins, and then so like I had 2 cousins that were born here. I stayed with them. I trained like my brothers. You know, I didn't say primos to them. I'd be like brother. They're older than me, and those are the people. Those are the 2 cousins I grew up with when my dad was when I came here with my dad by myself, and my mom was still trying to get here. So those 4 months was like every day with them.
Right.
You know, one of my cousins already. I was 6. He was already 13. You know, so I'm following him. You know, like wherever he went, I went, and that's when I got the whole, you know, like banging, hood, like hanging out in the corner stores, going to the park, and all the homies come, 32 ounces, 40 ounces. I was like, you know, and I'm right there, like I had not experienced it yet, but just, you know.
You looked up to it.
Look up to that. I was like, okay, you know, like, and the thing about that I admire at that time, right, was how many people shook his hand, how like, what's up, like everybody knew him. So I was like, okay, like he was accepted, right? So at 6th grade, man, like, you know, I changed my whole style, man, and I got that same love that my cousin used to get at when I was going with him around 6 years old. Like, what's up, you know, Chino this, you know, like everybody. So, you know, my name is Juan, but, you know, as everybody knows my nickname, man, it was Chino, and I used to love hearing Chino, it was still, like, I love that acceptance, you know, even though it was from people that didn't care about me, you know. So
it felt like love, though.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. I didn't know. We could go back to that. I didn't know what love was. So anything that was like, oh, you're good, or what's the, like, for me that was it. Like that for me, that it hit. Like, oh, they love me. They want me back. You know, like I got excited. Like I'm here. You know, like pull up. I had a little 12-pack, whatever. Like, oh, Chino came. Yeah, I did. You know, the acceptance of that, man, that's what kept me going, you know, like them wanting me back, and I never noticed that they only wanted me back because I had something,
right?
You know, but when I was broke or not doing anything, nobody invited me to no kickback.
You don't notice that till you show up with nothing.
Yeah. But still, you still keep going back, like, oh, they just, you know, like we don't. So 13 years old, I experienced, you know, the drinking. I was going to Gotham City right here. I grew up in San Bernardino, you know, from Mexico. You know, my dad was already right here. He had a house already. He had everything. You know, like I said, he had a life already here, you know. So for a while, I kept just home, you know, from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade, like home, homework, stay inside, read, you know, watch, you know, not really watch TV, but like read books, draw, write. I was, you know, if I could find it, man, like I used to have those writing notepads, man, like full of journals, man. Like I used to like write, like today my day, you know, like even though it was scrabbles at the time, but like I used to like write, you know, that was my little getaway. Reading, I was a big reader. I can't get that passion back, man. But like, I have an award to this day, man. When it said read what was it, like 98 books in a month, and I'm talking about big books. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I read them, and the reason why they actually said 98 books because we had to read them, take a test on them, and pass them to make sure that you read that book. Yeah. So I make sure that there was 98 books I read. Yeah. So like I was one of those. Like I didn't grow up. Like I had an American dream, you know. My grandma always told me like, look, go over there, do your school thing, get married with a white girl, get your, like, you know, and then say like get your papers, you know, like do something good with your life. That was my grandma's advice before I came over here, man. You know, and I took it. But then, like I said, at 6th grade, man, I started hanging out with the people that didn't have a dad, you know, they don't have a mom, you know, like maybe they do have them, but they're both loaded, you know, and they're just doing whatever. So I run with the rebels, you know, with the wild ones. Like they don't have a curfew. Their mama's not calling them to check up on them. Like, you know, nobody's worried about them, you know, like, so I started going with that. You know, and my mom is calling me when I'm hanging out with them. Yeah. You know, I am getting grounded when I come back at 2:30 in the morning. But I loved it, man. I love the chaos. Like, oh, you know, I'll get grounded for a week. I'll be out. You know. Yeah. Like I was a baby jail. You know, getting baby jail. I was already. You know, my mind's already set to like, oh, I could take 3 months. I could take a year. Yeah. You know, I've been grounded before. Yeah. You know, the mindset. A quick probation violation. Like the mindset that you get at 13 years old, man. Yeah. You know, because to just, and I said, like I could keep saying, like, a lot of things is about being accepted, being a part of, you know, and so yeah, man. So at 13 all the way to 26, from drinking to ecstasy. And it was a socialized thing. It was a party thing. Right. Everybody's doing it. We still go to school the next Monday morning. When it was vacation times and we had a 2-week break, we have house parties for those 2 weeks. But then the day that we have to go back on Monday, we're at school. Some of us don't. But I know I was at school because my mom, I still had to play that part. So, I was living 2 lives. Like still to being the mommy's boy, good kid. Like my mom loves me and I love you, Mom. I do whatever, So like when I'm in the streets with my boys, like I don't have a family. Like I'm I tell my friend, oh yeah, my dad, whatever. I used to lie to my friends, like, oh yeah, my dad ain't here either, man. My dad's not home. He just don't come around that much, but he's at home. Yeah. They're still married.
So you've told us about off the podcast how you looked to people that were running the streets, older individuals, for guidance, because you didn't have that, in the home. Tell us about that, man.
Yeah, so, so for me it was easy. Like the hood thing, me growing up in right here in the west side of Bernardino, man, literally like right behind the liquor store where everybody hangs out with, that's, from 6 years old to now, probably to now, I used to walk to the store to get candy, back then it was 10 cents, 15 cents, it was, you get a honey bun for 25 cents, it was, it was a lick, and I used to see them, like I see older homies and youngsters and they're like telling them like, hey, whoop de whoop, like you did a good job today, homie, like that's right. And I'm like, that's not even his, and so I kept thinking like, is that his dad? Or like, and I started getting more into it, man. And I started hanging out with more in the corner. And I remember my older homies, man, like, bro, you don't belong here. I used to always have my backpack with my books. Yeah. And I used to be right there in the corner store right there trying to bang with them. They're like, bro, you don't belong here. I was like, yeah, I do. It's like, bro, go back. Like, your school, like, stick in school. Like, that's what you, I didn't want, like, no. And the reason why it was easy for me to, like, to fall for that, man, was like, because, like, yeah, I always been looking for a father figure, like, so if an older homie tell me, like, I'm did a good job robbing somebody, I'll take that. I hit a good lick. Hey, if that's right, I'll take those, man. Like, right. Because I didn't have that for my dad. Like, I didn't have him coming to my baseball games. Like, oh yes, you did. You're 4 for 4. You did a home run. I didn't have those cheerings, man. I didn't have that cheering from my dad. My mom didn't make it because she didn't like. So let me tell you this, man. My mom was always excited for me to play sports, but she could never show up because she don't know the bus. She don't know anything. She's really into still like. She'll get lost walking around the hood still right now to this day. Like if you tell her to like meet me down the street, like she'll forget where she like what I'm saying. That's all. She's really not into this. So my mom always wanted to show up, but my dad was never around to bring her. So I didn't grow up with a father taking me to the park. I didn't grow up with my dad like going to my school functions. So like the acceptance of me accepting older homies from the hood to accept me as not who I was, but what I was doing, even though it was bad, like it was good for me. Like some older man telling me a good job, like, okay. Like
it felt good.
It felt good. Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, it just felt good. Some older man telling me, hey, that's right, dog. Yeah. Because I never had that. Yeah. And it sucks to say that it was that's right, dog, for bad things.
Yep. It was always bad things, right? Yeah. And I remember when I first got clean, this lady was sharing, right? And she used to talk about how we always talk about how we use not to feel, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, there's some truth to that, right? Mm-hmm. But she talked about how she used to feel wanted, to feel accepted, to feel loved, right? And it's almost like we're trying to get that validation for love, like I'm good enough, right? Like if I knock this fool out, or if I rob somebody, or if I, the small one back then, right? The small one, I could like squeeze through the restroom window, right? Like head first, right? And there was like some validation, because then when people found out that you're the one that robbed the neighbors, right? The homies would come out and be like, hey, look, nobody's touching him, like he's safe, like, what I'm saying? If you got a problem with him, you got, what I'm saying? And just like that validation, that acceptance, and that love, right? And I wouldn't necessarily say that it was like fake love, right? I just think it was misguided love, right? Because I got homies that I grew up with that I love and care about, bro. But the way we loved each other and the way we cared about each other, right, wasn't in the right place. You know what I'm saying? So, and people are just doing what they were taught, just like you were, right?
Yeah.
And so their family, and so forth and so forth. And when you grow up in that environment, right, whether you have a mom and a dad in the household or not, man, it's just, it becomes a part of who you are. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, this is what I see, so this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's easy to fall into that trap.
Oh, yeah.
Very few people grow up in neighborhoods like that and are able to stay away from that, right? Very few people. But, you know, I remember we would be all with the homies and this and that, bro. And they'd be like, oh, why do you do this? Oh, because this is the life I live and all this macho, you know what I'm saying? It's just, and it's all just a twisted way of thinking, bro. And it's almost like we feel like there's no way out, right? Like that, there's no escaping this. Like this is, like I used to think, if God didn't want me to do this, then he wouldn't have had me born in this neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Why would he put me here if he didn't want me to partake in all this stuff, bro? You know? So.
Yeah, it makes sense, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did things get bad?
Let's talk about the end of the road. The end of the road. This all sounds fun still.
So, all right. So from 13 all the way through high school, like I said, I graduated, man. Like I graduated. I was real athletic, you know. I did track. I did baseball. You know, I did baseball since my 4 years, all varsity. You know, I was a pitcher. You know, I was good at it. You know, and I did a little bit of college. But at 18, man, that's when really things got bad. From 18, you know, the day I graduated high school, the same morning, you know, I had a letter a week before from immigration saying that you're approved, you're going to be a dreamer, come take your fingerprints for your final, you know, your final step. So the same morning I graduated, that I went to get my fingerprints taken, and then like about 5 p.m. the same day I walked, you know. But I graduated with the, you know, like even though I was from 13, my whole high school I was ecstasy, drinking, partying. Like I said, like I was one of those like the homies that didn't come to school for the rest of the week, but I was there Monday morning, you know, doing the work. In my mind, I was like that, you know. That's the difference between, like I could tell you from 30, 40 homies I used to walk to high school with, I'm probably 3 out of the 30 that graduated.
Right.
That's a fact, you know. And so, like I said, for me it wasn't bad. Like I said, I got drunk to the, like I didn't even know how I got home sometimes, you know. But to like the point I didn't do my responsibility as like school and like at home chores and still listening to my mom sometimes, you know. I didn't really get that bad until I was 18. That's already I moved out, you know. So I graduated high school. I got my Dreamers Act, man. I got my Dreamers Act. I got my first job. I went to get my social. I went to get my license. You know, I got everything, you know, everything with the, and about 3 months in, I was working. My first job was at Amazon, man, and I was working peak season, man. I was working, and, you know, back then, 1,200 was a, you know, back then was a good, that's cool little amount of money, you know what I'm saying? Not all about today, but back then was good, and I got my first 3 checks. I got my first car used. It was a Mitsubishi Lancer, you know, 03, stick shift, you know. That was, you know, bought it cash. Nobody could tell me nothing. I bought it with my, you know, I'm moving out, Mom. You know? Like, it was not because, and that's the thing, like, I didn't get kicked out. My parents didn't tell me, like, hey, at 18, you know, you do your own thing. Like, it wasn't like that, but I don't know. I just wanted to leave, though. You know, at 18, like, and I could go have another story about that, man, because, like, I feel like at 18, I thought I had it all, and one thing about it, like somebody told me when I first got in recovery, man, they were like, you can't tell an addict with money nothing, dog. Mm. And I didn't understand that until I did some step work, and I was like, that's all I was at 18. And I know that I was an addict, right? I thought an addict was one of those guys that, you know, we all talk about it, push the cards, doing bad, dirty, dreadlocks because I haven't washed their hair. That's an addict, right? So at 18 years old, even though I was already heavy using, so, you know, Amazon, I worked there, man. You know, it was, for me, it was like cocaine. Cocaine and drinking came handy for me, man. I grew up like that, man. Like, I grew up with just ecstasy, cocaine, and drinking was my best thing to do on a daily basis, you know.
Daily ecstasy?
Yeah. For a couple of years, yeah. And I didn't, people, I hear they fry their brains. You get, you know, all this. Some
people do, man.
Like, so that, and we could get to this higher power thing, you know, like, I feel like my higher power always been with me, man, for the things I've been through, you know? Like, even though we don't think about it, or I hate him. We could say all these things, man, but like recovery showed me how to work on myself and how to look at my past and my situations I went through when I know there's something there that's protecting me. Easy as that, man. There's always been something there that protected me because I could have been dead right now. Yeah. There's a situation where I've been at that I could put someone else into, like, he would have been dead if he would have went through what I went through. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But so heavily using it was at 18. At 18, man, like I said, I got my first job. 3 months into it, man, I got my first month, I got my first check, I got my use card. Second month, I was already looking it. I was with baby mamas, you know, before we got married. I was telling her I'm moving now. We'll do. I was like, okay, well, and then 3 months passed, and I ended up getting a place right there on Fifth Street and G Street, man. You know,
I was right there.
A real classy joint then.
$423 a month for a studio.
Yeah.
What else can I ask for? You know, like, you know, and I know it was the area wasn't good, you know, but what else can I ask for $423? I'm 18 years old, so I moved out, man. You know, and months later, a couple months later, baby mama moves into, you know, pregnant, you know, but you know, so I'm one of those guys that I could be excited. I want pregnant. Yes, I'm gonna be a dad. Finally, I could, you know, like, what's going? Yes, I'm gonna be the best dad ever, and run. That's what happened with me. I found out my baby mama was pregnant. My mom is happy, you know, not really because she didn't really like her, but mom saw me happy. She's happy for me, you know. Yeah. It was one of those situations. Yeah. And we grow to love, you know, as baby mama worked together for 13 years, bro. You know, have dating and have marriage. You know, no matter how toxic or how good it was, like 13 years is a long. You know what I'm saying? 13 years is a while. You know, but yeah. So from 18, after that, I worked at 6 months at Amazon, and bro, like, it was cool. It was on the weekend thing, just kickbacks, friends. You know, like, everybody puts hats on the 24 packs. You know, Monday we all go to work. You know, it was like that. But 6 months down, man, like, I remember I got so faded. It was a Sunday, and I had to go to work Monday at 8 in the morning. It was 6:30 in the morning, still trying to get you know, and I had no more money. I'm broke. The homies are done for me. Like, I don't have no more money, right? Like I said, that's what we talk about. When you don't got it, nobody's gonna. I know the homies had some, but they ain't gonna hug me up. So I went to the hood, where I knew where something else is at. I was like, bro, look, I gotta work in an hour. I can't go to work like this. Help me out. So I, you know, older homie again, grown ass man, holding, you know, took me to the restroom. You know, he's holding the pipe for me, twisting it for me, like a baby in a water bottle, dog. Here you go.
Yep.
Man.
And what was that?
Dope. Methamphetamine, you know? And that right there, the way I knew I was feeling seconds before I took that first hit, and the way I felt that second after, I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it right here.
Yeah.
I went that morning, man, I worked a 16-hour shift. I didn't feel hanged over. I didn't feel lazy. I was scanning 200 plus more boxes I scanned on a regular basis. I got employee of the month for scanning those much boxes. I was like, this is it. I found the way to do better in life in the beginning. You know, this drugs makes me do better. Yeah. Until it doesn't, man. Yeah. You know, you start focusing about doing it more than actually doing what it makes you do. You know, I think that's what it was for me. You know, and so I lost everything, man. I left my baby mama pregnant. I left the studio. I didn't have no hustle. Like, I remember I got my last 2 checks because I was clocking in, leaving, coming back 6 hours, clocking out for lunch, coming back, stay in the parking lot for 30 minutes, clocking back in, and then I didn't clock out. And I was just talking like, oh, I forgot to clock out for like a month until they found out that I was never there. Yeah. H&R, I started scanning in, beep, beep, beep. Oh, it's like, oh, H&R wants to see you. I was like, man, you know, and I'm lit. I'm lit than a light bulb. I'm like, so everything starts getting paranoia. Cops are coming. They're gonna, you know, deport me. Now the deportation's coming in. Like, they're gonna take my papers away. So I go and be like, hey, Juan, where were you at yesterday? At the precision, you know? I was like, in the conveyors. racking boxes from the trucks. That's funny because I was ahead over there and I didn't see you. So you want to be honest with us? And yeah, you know, I got my last 2 checks. I got fired for stealing. I could have got arrested for that, man. I'm stealing companies, you know, money.
Yeah.
They just let me go, give me my last 2 checks, like. So I don't think I could ever get hired at Amazon again if I want to now. You know, you know. So I play the part. My baby mama's family is real connected. You know, you want to talk about that? They're real connected into the gang life. You know, and they have, you know, and I went through her mom because I know her mom uses and all that stuff. She's connected. So look, I got $2,000. What can I do? I'm out of a job. Daughter's pregnant. Can we work something out in the hustling way? So yeah, I could connect. Bro, I got hooked up. You know, and let me tell you, like, yeah, my first re-up, I sold it all. I'm talking about I was buying Mondanos. I was everybody in the room that was like 15 head. I was make sure everybody had $200, racking their things, you know, packing that. You know, girls want, you know, making the girls, you know, like that, right? Everybody needs me, right?
Yeah.
It felt good, and little by little, man, like I tell you, like maybe not even 2 months down the head, money and all that didn't matter to me. It was just about using, you know. And now I'm like messing up her connection. You know, it was bad, though. Yeah. You know, so it got from 18 all the way to 21. It was bad. It was real bad to the point that I got locked up, got my first felony. Right, 2 months before my probation thing was over to get my papers, I needed to get my first felony, so I lost my whole privilege to get my papers. Mm-hmm. You know, but heavily at 18 years old, man. Yeah. You know, like actually started getting bad, and I know how to control it, and not doing responsibility at 18. Yeah. Right. I was grown.
So how long did you do in jail on that one?
My first offense for G-Ride, man, I ended up getting caught with a G-Ride, Grafentado, and it was a 10-day grace period. You know, just 10 days. You know, like first offense, whatever. You know. But I still went to the immigration. You know, my fingerprints got taken. They're like, hey, you're giving this what? So they probably started like, okay, we put this to the side. It's just a misdemeanor. Whatever, cool, you know. Put it to the side. 19 again. Another 2 more. Same thing. Now I'm doing a month. Then the other one with 60 days. So it's going up, you know. The longest I've been in jail was 2 years, you know. That was my longest run. I ended up getting out, but... Yeah, my first couple of times, like 10 days, 13, I could do those, you know. It was, like I say, I've been grounded. Like, this is nothing. It was scary, yeah. You know, because, you know, but yeah, man, like, 18 and 19, man, like I said, I had no, like, the hustle was there. I just didn't know how to, like, know how to control it. Like, and the only reason why I started using heavily, because I remember, like, still going home, trying to be, you know, I guess act normal, play the possum, you know, let my parents know I'm still doing good. Because my parents didn't know I'd lost a job. But I was still coming home with money, you know, for a couple months. But I remember, like, going to sleep before I started messing around like that. And I have, like, 17 missed calls from all these guys that usually pick up for me. So I was like, hey, money don't sleep. Yeah. And I was like, I got it all, you know, I got the solution right here. Yeah. Man, I couldn't stop. Man, I had a brick, man. I couldn't stop. You know, all those calls that I was supposed to call back, I didn't even call them. I was stuck in a freaking room, just smoking it all the way, man. I didn't know how to control myself as soon as I took that first one. Right. Like, I was like, oh, I was supposed to make money today. After. You know? Yeah. I was supposed to call them, you know?
So when did it get to where you started thinking about, like, maybe I need to try something different? This isn't working anymore.
Until I'm in a road, man, like... I really didn't have those thoughts, to be honest. Like I accepted the life I was living, dog. Those thoughts didn't come in at 18. So 18 to 21, like I was in and out of jail, got smoked out. I'm talking about like skinny. I'm a pretty heavy dude. That, you know, I was usually been having my weight 175 to 200. Bro, it was 125 soaking wet. Like skinny jeans look baggy on me. From 18 to 21. Yeah. Like that's all. Like I was wearing skinny jeans that looked baggy on me. Like I'm talking about you. Nobody recognized me, bro. When I pulled up to see my daughter be born, like you should see everybody's faces that were there, from my side and her side, because everybody's there but me. I put up late, you know. Bro, I was like, who is this? Like an alien, bro. Stuck up, Nobody wanted me there. Her brother wanted to beat me up, whatever. I was like, we'll catch a fade, but I'm not gonna leave. All this crazy stuff, right? So, you know, like I said, at 21, I got married. Like I said, I thought marriage was gonna save me. You know, like I'll be that husband. Like, and I was for 3 years until the drinking. You know, for me, clean. When I was like, I got clean, drinking was still okay with me. I didn't know, you know, alcohol was a drug until I got to recovery, and you know, I accepted that. But for me, drinking on the weekends, working full-time job, taking care of wife, taking care of the kids, I was doing good, right? And but it only lasted 3 years until like I started feeling for what I really wanted. Like drinking wasn't gonna do it. Like, okay, drinking is just a temporary fix for what I really want to do, right? So, you know, I work, you know, baby, I'm just happy. I have the money, I have the cars, I have the house. We're living good. So now I'm like, every day, like I'm at break, I'm smoking now, but I won't take it home. I was like, I won't take it home for a whole year. I was doing that low key thing. I won't take it home. I don't want nobody to find this. I'll throw it away. I should throw $20 8 balls in the trash over there with brand new pipe, because I already know my shit was over and I'm going home. For a whole year, I did that, and that's hard for an addict.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, I gotta buy it. I didn't care to buy another one the next day, and I gotta re-up, and it was just, as long as my wife was cool, I didn't want her to know.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work, bro.
A lot of work.
You know? And for that whole year, man, like from after that from my third or fourth year of marriage, man, like that was a whole year of me using low key and always going home to wait for an argument to happen. I'm leaving. Oh, okay, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy to live like that, man, you know? And then finding out from the 5th, 6th year, I left. You know, I left her with all the bills, everything like that. And like I said, like the thought about like me messing up was never there. Like, you know, the only thing in the sadness, and I say it's sad because like I didn't get clean and come to recovery because I missed my ex-wife or because I really wanted to be a father. Sadly, right? Sad. It's the truth.
Right.
My real reason why I was scared to go back to somewhere I didn't know. You know, I was getting deported to Mexico. That's what literally got me scared straight. You know? Yeah. I knew that's when my thoughts came in of like, oh, I'm really messing up. Why? Because of the mindset I had at the time that I was supposed to get deported, I would have been dead in Mexico, man. Right. And I care about my life. Because I'm not one of those.
Of course we do.
Yeah, like you know, a lot of people like there's some suicidal thoughts once in a while in my addiction, but I was more like the homicidal. Like I have a list, like you know what I'm saying. I have a list of who's you know like who's gonna get it, what I'm gonna do to this one. Like I had a list, you know what I'm saying. Like I'm going on a mission, you know. So like that's when that's a really like literally I had that wake up call like me messing up was when I got those papers of immigration. That's when it got me thinking like, damn, like I'm really messing up my life. Everything I came here for and worked hard for, I'm letting it go because of my using. Not because of my using, because of my choices. The choices of my behaviors and the way I use the drugs. That's the reason, it's using just a little bit of the effect of everything, but like it's all mostly because of the choices we choose to do in life, man. And I said a lot of people can't look into that. A lot of people can't come like, it just happened because my family lived like this. You chose. We choose to do things like this, dog. Like I could have had a good life with me and my mom, even though my dad was, but I chose to be a citizen somewhere else and having my homie's mom calling me son, get all excited about it, Like we chose to go that route, So it's all about decisions today, man, and choices, and then by me being clean and being recovered, man, I get to choose and get to decide on what I want to do today, instead of being prisoned to do like, oh, you got to do this, like this is how. I love the way I live today, man. To have that freedom,
right,
of decisions and choices today, man.
And people get that twisted, because when we talk about powerlessness, right, unmanageability, when we talk about that stuff, everybody's like, oh, I don't have, But the thing is, bro, is that when we get into recovery, we have choices, right? And it's not as simple as, am I going to get loaded today or not? But it is what am I going to do for my recovery, and what am I not going to do for my recovery today, right? Yeah. And the people who are willing to do something for the recovery typically stay clean. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the ones who don't, right, and they can run their own program and do things the way they've always done things, they always end up getting the same result, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your bottom, right? behind, what was it, Family Dollar? Mm-hmm. Right? You want to share about that moment with us real quick?
Yeah, man. So, you know, my bottom was like I share about it, man. Like I wasn't broke. You know, I didn't. You know, it's like I didn't have no drugs. I was doing bad. Like I had the drugs that day. I had the money that day. I had actually 2 rooms. That's you know, that's doing good. When you got 2 rooms, you got a cool fast sack, and you're doing good out there. You know what I'm saying? That's what. And, but
where were the 2 rooms though?
Motel 6.
Oh,
Yeah. I got one right here and one right here, just in case where I wanted to walk that day or when I want to take my G ride at. You know, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like to have what was good for us, right? Like, oh, I'm doing good right now. I got 2 rooms. I got a female over here. Like it wasn't enough no more. I was done for. I was miserable. You know, still didn't think my life was. I want to change my life around. Like show me. No, like it was just. What really opened me to like. To feel that like I'm a piece of shit was being behind that dumpster. You know, we talk about that Family Dollar, man. I'm right here on Baseline, man. And like I was so narrow-minded. Like I'm done. I'm tired. Like you know, like what am I? I ended up going to this little condo I made a couple months behind. You know, I put a little shed. You know, couch. It was a kicking spot. You know, when I didn't want nobody around.
In a dumpster.
Yeah. I took the dumpsters down, and it's like cement blocks.
Yeah.
With the gate. I took their lock off with my own lock. It was, you know,
like got it so bad.
You know, like nobody's, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I ended up back there, man. Like, and we could laugh, and I love it because we could laugh about these situations today, man. And that's what it is. Like it was a serious situation, but to come and find the peace on the situation, to have this conversations today with you guys today and laugh about it, can't get better than that, man. Because I remember I couldn't laugh about stuff like this. I was real, you know. So go back to that, man. Like I was there, you know, back again. I'm going through. I'm missing my kids. Oh man, I wish I never did. I wish I never did this. Oh, I should have done this. All this stuff, right? And I'm flashing in my mouth, trying to find a vein. I'm all shut out. I'm sweating. I'm just like irritated. And I hear somebody walking. I'm like, still didn't care because I have the gate closed. And they're like, Chino. And I was like, who is that? He's like, it's Guy. And I was like, what's up? He said, I got something for you. And I was like, I already knew he was chilling with my baby mama. You know, at the time, that's why he was in one of my lists.
Yeah.
You know, he was one of the guys on my list. He's not on top, but he's like, okay, we could move him up right now, you know?
Yeah. We can move him.
So I was like, what's up? And he was like, oh, I got some papers for you. I was like, whatever. So I was like, what's going on? This fool serves me from baby mama's. He served me divorce papers and the losing custody of my kids fully. And man, dude, like, man, like I could still go back to that day, man, and imagine myself with that flashlight and find that needle and thinking I had it going, ran and see like that hopeless, man. You know, that hopelessness. I had that moment where I had those 2 packets in my hand, like, what was I supposed to do? Let me go to court tomorrow. I'm gonna go fix this tomorrow. You know, there was no thoughts like that. What I did was got more insane. Mm-hmm. I started messing that fool up. I socked that fool out. Don't ever disrespect me. Like tell this, you know, boo boo, like testing this fool out. Like I broke this fool's windows. Like, bro, it opened a demon in me, dog, because I didn't know what to do. So my only thing I know how to do is act out on anger. When I'm hurting, I was already hurting, and you messed it up by bringing those papers in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you really you went from 9 to top 1 right now, my boy. You know what I'm saying? Like you move on to, you know, you got the golden ticket, and you know, people are coming out, leave him alone, bro. Like I am insane when I'm like I'll black out to the point like when I flash back, I'm like, oh, like I feel bad for the person sometimes. Even though I say I got beat up a couple of times, but when I'm really into the moment, I'm on top. It's insane. I'm scared of myself sometimes, you know. So that happened, man. He ended up getting away. Man, I'm like, with these papers, man. I don't know if I should go home. I don't know if I should go to the motel. Like, I ripped them up. Boom. Like 3 days later, I ended up getting locked up. And this is how I got clean today, man. Like that. all those little steps to end up me getting locked up, and before I got locked up, like literally right there, and what I experienced in jail, like made me get that little bit of willingness to like try something new. You know, it had to happen the way it happened for me to be here today. You know, I could look at it now like that. I had to have some steps, and like you know, like, and it's all a higher power thing, man. Like I don't want to get real spiritual, but like I feel like, so I went to jail 3 days after. I went to court. They're telling me you're doing 5 years upstate. You're getting deported after. Like I had diarrhea for a week, bro. I'm calling my parents. Like, you know, it's just honestly, man. Like I had diarrhea for a week. I was sick to my stomach, knowing that I was gonna go back to Mexico after. And not today, but I'm still, you know, 5 years, you know. And I call my parents. My parents are already making phone calls. Hey, my son's gonna be down there. Can you have everything ready? Have his house, because I own a house out there. You know, I tell you guys all the time, like, what am I doing over here? You know, I have my own ranch, my own house, 2 stories. I have all these fields under my name before I was born. Like, you know, my grandparents left me all that. You know, when my dad was in his, this is a story. My dad was in his addiction at 30. I was like 12, 13 years old. He was trying to sell the fields and all that. He couldn't because I had a sign. I wasn't old enough. You know, so I knew my dad was bad, doing bad too at the 13. Now that I go back, I was like, oh, okay, I would have done the same thing too if I was your, you know. But yeah, like, you know, my mom's already making the phone calls, like, please take care of him with the, like, you know, like the stressful things for parents, man. You know, and one of my cousins there, you know, 18 years old, facing 6 years for some gun charges that he had, man, and like a spiritual thing again, man. Like every night for the first week I was there, I'm sticking up to my stomach, you know, like, please, like, not knowing what to talk to, man. But I remember him. I see him always, every time before he laid in his bunk, he was on his knees and prayed. And he's like, try it, primo. And I was like, bro, that's not gonna work. Like, it's dumb, you know. He's like, bro, try it. And I was like, all right. So I ended up, every time now, from that next day forward, I started getting on my knees and praying for something, you know, please, like, let me out. And usually that's what it usually is when I get locked up. Please let me out, be better. But like, I really meant it this time. That was my spiritual awakening. I really meant those words when I was talking to him this time. No matter who I didn't, you know, who I was talking to. And a week later, I checked my kiosk, being bored. So hopefully my mom may put another $20 for phone line, you know. Get another court date. Dog, another court date. First mine was like, it's a dry run, you know, right? I'm not. Yeah. I'm not thinking
a long day, bro.
I'm not thinking the prayer is working, right? I'm not thinking the prayer I'm doing is working, or the way I'm connecting with my higher power is working at the time. I'm just like, it's a dry run. I'm gonna wake up for no reason. Long day, shackled up. I'm in Alonso. Yeah. That's a ride. Long day. I don't want to do it, you know. But I ended up going, man. Second one called up I was like, what? And I ended up getting drug court. Serving no drug court, man. And getting out, man, my parents took about a week and a half to approve their address. They were like, oh, should we let this one back or not, you know? Yeah. They were talking about Salvation Army. They were talking about Gibson House. I was like, I don't want to be, you know, sober living. I need love, you know? I want to go back to my parents. So, well, they still haven't approved the address. I'm like, Mom, come on, you know, I'm doing, you know? It's like, I always hear that, though, you know? I was like, please, Mom, like, I'm serious. So they approved it. I got out. Next day, got changed up. For the first time ever, man, at 26 years old, I got out of jail, man, and those 2 hours you get for parking in the courthouse, man, like, I didn't talk. My dad said, you just listen. My dad, the one that I've been talking about this whole time, that never been there, we never had that father and son conversations. We never had that connection of, like, how you doing today, hug. Like, he sat me down for 2 hours, man, and just gave me a father and son conversation for 2 hours, man. And that made me choose from take me to the hood to, like, hey, take me to probation and MHS to the drug court thing to do my intake. That talk. That 2 hour talk made me choose from those two things. That's what like, should I go check in and play it off, or should I go to the hood right now and go see what's up with the homies? I know they had. That conversation changed my decision that day to, like, tell him, like, drop me out, because I know he will listen to me. He's not gonna stop me. If he does, I'll walk from the courthouse to the homies. I'm already out, right? So I'm real grateful that we had that talk, man. We've been great, you know. It's still machismo, like, we don't really hug and love you, but it's you know, it's better than how it was, man, you know. And I did drug for the year. graduated drug court, man. Everybody says like I was a brown noser because I was on top of the class and everything. I was just tired of how I was living, dog. Yeah. You know, and the more I stayed in drug court and the more I took the suggestions and what was court mandated, man, like the blessing starts coming in without my permission. The kids started coming back in my life. Baby mom was cool with me. Mom just gave me a house key again. You know, like the little things. Yeah. It ain't about the cars or they bought me a car or they're helping me to get a new place. It's like the littlest things that I was thinking I lost forever. You know, it came back slowly, and then the big thing starts coming up, you know, when I was ready for it. Like, today I got 50-50 custody of my kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Like, 3 years ago, I got a package saying that, hey, your kids are, you know, you're not going to see your kids ever again. You know? And it's like, it's been a road, man, and I love it, man. Like I said, not all the days are easy for me. But with what I've learned in recovery and the tools I've been learning, like, that moment of time when it's not easy and I do the tools or the suggestions I get, like, it gets better, you know? There's no, I don't think those are easy days. I don't think there's never an easy day, you know? I feel like, what they said, good days and great days, you know, because the bad days were out when we're out there. Like, even on my bad, I feel like, and I always say this, man, even on my bad days when I, like, my kids ain't listening, my mom is on my case, my dad's not trying to buy me a cologne that I wanted, you know? Whatever the little baby things, right? Like, I know as long as I stay clean the whole day and go to sleep and like, I have opportunities to do something better the next day. Right. You know?
So one more thing I wanted to ask you before we wrap it up. What do you do for your recovery today? What does that look like?
For me, what I do today, I go to meetings. I stay connected with my sponsorship family. I have a sponsor that has a sponsor. I have sponsoring brothers. I have sponsees. You know, I got blessed with 10 sponsors right now. You know, some of them are doing the work. It's about 7 out of 10 they're doing the work.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
Pretty good odds.
No, yeah, for reals. You know, but I had to get at some of them because there was only like if you could talk to me, we did this 3 months ago, I would have been like 2 out of 10 are doing the work.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I feel like a little push today with a loving care. Like, hey, dog, like you know, it goes a long way. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people would take it offensive, but like if you go in a caring way with good motives, man, I'm telling you, things change, bro. Like in here, I was like, he wasn't trying to get at me foul. He's telling me the truth and trying to tell me like, hey, this will get better if you do this. Yeah. You know, but so I do the sponsorship thing, man. I have a sponsor. I stay connected with them on a daily basis, man. I work steps. You know, I'm big at service. Yeah. One of the things to like for me to not be selfish and get on selflessness is like I be at service, man. I stay. I'm in a couple committees, and then at the fellowship, you know, at the 12-step program, man. I like to be in service in any way I can. Right. If it's with the newcomers, if it's with helping put up chairs, without in a meeting, you know, anything that would take me out of myself that day. It's for me, it's that service, man. You know, a lot of people think like, oh, we have to be a secretary. You know, all these commitments. Like, yo, you can literally talk to somebody outside in the break. You're being a service right there. You know,
absolutely.
But but for me, is higher power with my recovery, right? They come hand in hand. Meetings, step work, sponsorship, and being at service. Everything else shakes out, brother. Yeah. Simple as that. I try to tell my sponsors, like, look how simple that is. They look like their brain is frying. I remember those days, too.
Yeah, I did, too,
because
bro.
my sponsors be like, it's so simple. Like, for who? You know? For who's simple? I'm like...
You know, I heard a saying yesterday, right? And I probably heard it before, but it never really resonated like it did when I heard it yesterday. And you're talking about, like, pushing people, right? And he says, sometimes we got to step on people's toes so we don't have to walk on their grave, bro. Mm. And the truth is, right, as funny as all the jokes that we talked about, and that's the importance of this podcast, right? As funny as all the jokes we talked about and the things we laughed at, the truth is, man, this is a fatal disease, bro, right? That destroys families from the inside out, bro. It makes, you know, men into boys and people with respect and love and care into people that have none of that, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so it's important, bro. Sometimes we need to step on people's toes. You know what I'm saying? It's not because we don't love them. It's because we do love them and we do care about them. And we see certain behaviors that are going to take us down bad paths. And it's up to us, or not us, specifically, but it's up to people who have been around here long enough, right, to say something and to do something about that, man, right? At least bring it to their attention.
Yeah.
Right, because at the end of the day, man, if you go out there and die, at least I know I did my part by bringing it up and saying, hey, bro, like maybe you shouldn't behave this way, or maybe you need to get on. I become that annoying guy, bro. What step are you on? Are you doing, you know what I'm saying? Did you call your sponsor? Like, I become that annoying guy, bro. But it's like, I'm not going to stop that because I'm hurting people's feelings or making people feel uncomfortable, bro. At the end of the day, if we don't do what we're supposed to do, right, then we're going to end up in the same places that we always end up. And not everybody makes it out of the mess that we made it out of, bro. Not everybody has an opportunity to sit on a podcast, to sit in a meeting, to go to events, to be with their kids. Not everybody gets that opportunity. People die before they ever get to sit in a chair of recovery, bro, right? Yeah. So we, as recovering addicts, bro, we have a duty and an obligation not only to carry the message, but to push the message, bro. Right? And whoever receives it, but we still got to do our part, right?
Yeah.
So before we end it, right, what do you think has been the most crucial thing you've done in recovery for you to be who you are today?
The most crucial, and this could be a tricky question because somebody asked me that like 2 days ago, one of the newcomers. So what's been the crucialest thing you've been doing and then for you to stay clean today? 2 days ago, and now you're asking me this in the box, here. That's crazy. Like the most crucial, but the most rewarding. Listen to that. The most crucial thing, but the most rewarding thing out of it too, was accepting my past so I could grow. Accepting my divorce. Like one thing for me was crucial was to see somebody you loved for so many years and see her happy with someone else. That's crucial, right?
Yeah.
But it's been the most rewarding for me. You know why? Because now the kids see the best of her, and the kids gonna see the best of me, the way we are today.
That's fire, bro.
But trust me. My first thought was not to hug her boyfriend or the baby daddy. Now, find out 3 months ago that she's pregnant. Oh man. Like it could be.
We were there.
Yeah.
I remember that day.
Yeah.
So like when we say crucial, yeah, there's a lot of crucial things that I went through. I'm coming up on 3 years in less than a month. But if you really want to talk about crucial things, those crucial things will have you growing in a way that you never expected. I never knew I could be this guy to shake someone else's hand that's being with my baby mom that I love so much for so many years. It's crucial, but you know what I did? What the recovery showed me, what the 12 steps showed me was like, I don't gotta love him. I don't even gotta like him. But unconditionally, I'm gonna love him because he's showing love to somebody I love. And the thing about it, everything you told me, he's like, how are you mad about someone loving your kids? Yeah. I'm like, damn. Thanks. I'm mad and I'm hating on him because he's loving my kids. Why am I mad for somebody loving my kids? But
I deal with that too.
Yeah.
It's not a partner of my children's mother, but it's her family, and I have to accept the fact that my kids are loved by so many people, and that they don't always want to go with me.
No.
And they don't always want to give me the attention, but the most important thing is that they're loved by many people.
So that's a crucial thing, accepting the past, because we all have a past. We all have the experience of what we went through and the things that we did, and growing from that. And the big steps is when you get clean and accepting what's going on today. Like this is what's going on today. I went through a divorce, baby mama moving on, and I still like to be the controlling, manipulating, like you're mine forever. I don't care. But that's what's crucial, but at the same time rewarding for me today.
Nice.
All
right, well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Appreciate
you guys.
coming
Yeah, beautiful
sharing
story.
your experience.
Thank you guys for having me, man. Thank you.
All right.
It takes a lot of effort to apply all of this pressure. pressure being higher than propellers only drove me through the shredder. I need some hope right now. Can you spare some hope right now? I can use some hope right now. Can you spare some hope right now? Lately I've been thinking about this life and how it brought me here. Staring at this man in the mirror, I see him often here. Wipe my tears, only if you knew what I was going through. Only if you walked it in my shoes.
Looking at the skylight, thinking of my life like looking for the right state of mind to get my time right. I just hope my time's right. Lost up in the limelight, but you'll never know unless you walked up in my shoes.